Woo!
Got some good news at you today?
I'm flabbergasted.
Oh.
That's how I am. I mean, just really flabbergasted.
Yeah. What's up?
Well, these are photographs of a Mr. Stephen Newhouse in Gonzaga Park on October 12th of 2022. Here are some more. Mr. Newhouse, and you can see him on his tricycle with the county attorney and the deputy director then of the Parks and Recreation for Orange County.
Wow.
Okay? And what they were doing up there is summarized in one sentence. This is from Joel Stern, the unelected leader of South Blooming Grove. It was a pleasure to have you today, and thank you for making time for this. Looking forward to a successful project and some cigars on the mountain. Steve Newhouse. That was great. Now, what was he talking about? He was talking about the deforestation of Gonzaga Park, a state-dedicated park owned by Orange County, and the plan of this group of individuals, unelected in South Blooming Grove, to literally destroy the state park by building a road through it, which they were showing to Mr. Newhouse as county attorney.
So this is the road.
This is the road to nowhere. So Mr. Newhouse blessed the road.
Wow.
About 9 weeks later, money was delivered to his office by the same people, and there are texts signaling the delivery of the money and the receipt of the money. And we have those texts here as well. And they're from December 22nd of 2022, when the same gentleman indicated they were in Mr. Newhouse's office and gave the money to Harry Poor, his trusted deputy. And Mr. Newhouse thanked him for the money. Okay? Now, what do we hear?
This is incredible.
What do we know next? We know next is that today, I say flabbergasted, I came back to my office only to find this from Steve Newhouse. Campaign literature being paid for by Orange County residents, addressing a fundamental issue in the campaign. What Steve Newhouse did at Gonzaga Park. An example of county protection of our parks is Gonzaga Park. Orange County's law department, county attorney, sued the village when it trespassed into county-owned Gonzaga Park to build a public roadway through it.
Oh, man.
It's true. After neighbors complained to Mr. Newhouse about, this is 3 months later, about what he had allowed to happen, he turned around, filed an affidavit in court, lied, said he knew nothing about it until just then, and filed an injunction. But what he didn't tell the people is that months earlier he had been there and blessed the site and the road.
And it sounds like he accepted some kind of gratuity for this.
Yeah, a gratuity,
Yeah.
meaning a bribe to look
Exactly.
the other way.
Well, you know. Okay.
So anyway, now that puts me in a position to discuss with you the other event of the week, which is a couple of nights ago I was here and my staff came to me and said, we just got a message. What's the message? Steve Newhouse is not debating you on October 23rd as promised at the Sapphire Elementary School in the Monroe Woodbury School District at 7 o'clock.
Whoa.
Well, why not? Well, he has an order to go on military duty. Really? 10 days before the election? He couldn't have called his supervisor and said, I'm running in an election and I'm scheduled to debate that evening against my opponent. Can I report 2 days later? Or whatever. After agreeing to the debate, he's no longer debating, and then we find this piece of lie out here. So it's sort of all coming together for me now. You avoid the debate because you avoid any opportunity for your opponent to tell the truth about what your record really is, and instead you put out at our public expense, because that's what this is, public expense.
I got it.
Okay? A bunch of lies. Or half-truths.
So is it possible for you, are you going to go ahead and take the date and make it a speaking date where you're talking about
Well,
your
it's
imaginary debater?
Well, Strauss, as I understand it, the Strauss Broadcasting Group, headquartered over in Chester, were the people sponsoring the debate. They had contacted him and gotten his approval, or his staff's approval, and our approval, and we wanted 2 other debates. So I don't think Strauss, I mean, I'm not trying to make a joke of the whole thing. Strauss, I doubt, is going to now say invite 200, 300, 400 people to this auditorium at the Sapphire Elementary School when the other gentleman is not coming. You know, I don't blame them. It's not, that it was a debate, and you can't have a debate unless both people show up. So it's not a time for me to go give a speech. It's a time for him to come and debate. So maybe, just maybe, if enough people contact Mr. Did I say Mr. Warehouse?
Yeah.
Or did
That's
Mr.
his,
Newhouse?
that's his other name.
I forgot what I said, but whatever. The gentleman who's the incumbent, if enough people contact him,
Yeah.
maybe something will happen, and he'll suddenly have a reversal of his military orders.
Oh boy, I'm telling you.
But the other thing that came out in the last, since we've spoken, I think, is the revelation by our longtime undersheriff, Mr. Kenneth T. Jones, a very conservative Republican, and he's supporting Michael Sussman. That is me, as my wife would say.
Wow.
Don't use your name. And the reason he's supporting me is in part because of his dealings with Mr. Newhouse and his belief that Mr. Newhouse can't really be trusted, and information which he revealed in a letter that's an endorsement letter that will be sent to many, many people in this county, in which he indicates that Mr. Newhouse, while on military service, was not serving his country, but was serving himself somewhere other than the appointed base, so to speak. He was on some other base. So I think the people are starting to get the idea of why this gentleman might not be appearing for the debate, because there is in fact photographic evidence of these shenanigans.
Yeah.
And his mistress at the time, who appears in his own Instagram, by the way. So for those people who think somehow somebody's making something up, all they need to do is look at Mr. Newhouse's own Instagram, which has now been removed, and see the very interesting photograph. That's his Instagram. That's the woman he was having the affair with, and you can see she has the uniform on, his uniform, and it has Newhouse. You can see the Newhouse tag.
Boy.
So I don't care what he's doing. He's playing golf, he's playing tennis, he can be doing whatever he's doing, but don't tell the world that he's off on some military base serving his country when this is what he's doing. It's inappropriate. It's disturbing the brave people who are fighting to protect our country.
Wow.
And I don't want to see that kind of a legacy. So, we're trying very hard in the weeks before the campaign to let everyone in the county know, first of all, there's a choice. Second of all, we know Amazon is back at the door, asking for another $100 million from our taxpayers with a contrivance that they've come up with.
Amazing.
We know that they made a new submission. It's fascinating what happened this week about Amazon. The public hearing with regard to the planning board in Wawayanda was closed. Okay, no more public comments. After it was closed, Amazon makes a 33-page submission of new material on the issue of firemanic threat, which is the issue that they've focused on. Does building a 10-story building, okay, with now we know 6,000 robots, which are lithium-ion batteries.
Oh my God.
This poses no threat, even though we pointed out to the planning board 10 fires, which have been created in similar but much smaller Amazon plants.
Very unstable.
Very unstable, okay? So what is Amazon's response? They make a response now. It's supposedly cut off from public comment. But I did write a letter to the planning board taking apart their nonsensical response. And most fundamentally, contrary to the laws of the town of Wawayanda, they're creating a battery storage facility there. Because when you have 6,000 robots and that degree...
They have to have.
That degree of lithium ions...
24/7. They run 24/7.
Exactly. And they're saying, well, we're going to take these robots that need servicing off-site. But they've never disclosed off-site where. And we believe that one of the other warehouses must be off-site, but they haven't disclosed any of this, and none of it's been studied. So there's chicanery, honestly, all over the place here, and the public, to its credit, more and more people in Wawayanda are waking up to this, and people going out and canvassing in that community and sharing the news. So
is that going to be in time, though?
I think it will be in time, because it's happening right now. It's been happening every weekend. People are going out to their neighbors and explaining exactly what's going on. And a lot of people...
Wow, on the 18th, we got another big day coming up.
Exactly.
Right?
On the 18th, we have a very important No Kings Day.
No Kings, and no Kings in this county either, right?
Well, we know that Mr. Newhouse gave out not a crown, but a ruler with his name on it on January 4th in Goshen. And the ruler is indicative of his mentality about himself. He's the ruler. Right. He's not a king. So it's no ruler and no King's Day. But the point is we're catching up with it. We're catching up with it. And I think that the people...
Well, you should get a ruler of your own, the ruler of law.
I'm not going to get any rulers. I'm the opposite of a ruler. And I make that very clear. I'm not going to get a ruler. I'm not a ruler. I don't view myself as a ruler in any shape, way, or form. But I do think it's clear from his own action that he does, because he's the one giving rulers out.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a couple of weeks to go now, and I'm going to appeal to everyone who's watching this to do a couple of things, because it's very important. First of all, a lot of you have children, and a lot of your children are registered to vote in Orange County, but they're not voting.
Yeah.
You can get them absentee ballots. They can get absentee ballots, and they can vote and participate.
They still have time to do
They
that.
absolutely do, and they really you need to help them participate. If you know the issues, help educate them as to the issues. The other thing you can do is talk to people at your workplace, talk to your friends. If they're not involved politically, they don't have to be as deeply involved as you, but
Right.
give them some sense that there is an alternative finally in this county. Because a lot of them don't believe, and we've talked about this before, that
Right.
Democrats have a 20,000 vote advantage in terms of registered voters in this county. They don't believe. Believe.
They've got to believe.
The first step in any human endeavor, and you're a musician and an artist, and you know this very well. If you don't have a belief that something can get done, how's it going to ever get done? You have to have the fundamental belief in yourself or in whatever the process is. Participation is critical. So people need to participate and not complain. Last week in Warwick, I was telling people something that I believe. 10% of the people participate, 90% of the people complain. You hear from person after person about school taxes, right? Everybody you talk to, they want to talk about school taxes. But you know something? The most numerous participation in this county in a school board election is 8%. 8% of the eligible people vote on the school board budget or on candidates.
Wow.
And yet, what do you hear? Complaint after complaint after
Yeah,
complaint.
well, you have no right to complain if you're not willing to take the steps that you have available to you.
Which is pretty minimal. All you got to do is
vote.
Come up with an idea and vote. So here, I realize that there's a kind of lethargy and apathy, which may very well derive from years of one-party rule. We've had 60 years of it. People aren't really used to, right? They're not used to participating.
Yeah.
They're not used to believing there's a choice. So I think the major point to be made is there is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the other point. There's also a lot of information online, whether it's on YouTube,
A ton.
whether it's on our website, whether it's on Facebook. Given how people get their information, there's no excuse for people not to know. Spend
Exactly.
20 minutes, watch what you want to watch, look at the issues, and come to a reasoned decision. And also, don't believe everything you read.
Yeah.
Don't believe everything you read. The more research we've done about, for instance, the tax situation in Orange County, we've learned that our county is paying the highest effective county property taxes. With a $200 million surplus, we're still paying the highest effective property taxes in the Hudson region, even though we have $200 million in the bank.
That's insane.
But people, I understand, they don't know or they don't believe. These are in reports that are available from the comptroller's office. The data's out there. Okay, so.
Boy, oh boy.
Next week's going to be very exciting. We're doing breast cancer events. I just want to mention those today. And we, of course, have, as you mentioned, the No King's Day. But on the 17th, which is a Friday, a week from tomorrow, we're having a major karaoke event at the Cancun Inn.
Ooh.
It's for Making Strides Against Breast Cancer.
Oh,
My
great.
wife is sponsoring it, Lee
Absolutely.
Squires. And,
I'm in.
And, you know, a lot of people are in. I'd like people to come. It costs $10 to register and sing karaoke, and you can make other contributions, but we're asking people to really come and participate.
Sure.
The next day, we are doing a rally here, right in Goshen at the Green, from 2 to 4
Okay.
for No King's Day, as you
Right.
mentioned.
Right.
There are 2,500 of these all around the country, and I'm proud that we're participating and sponsoring it. And then the next day is the Breast Cancer Awareness March, which is going to be at Woodbury Commons at 7:30 in the afternoon, 7:30 in the morning. For some people, they'd rather be 7:30 in the afternoon, but it's 7:30 in the morning. So you got to get there early. But again, we're going to have Team Sussman out there with our shirts and proudly marching in support of a cure, finally, a cure for breast cancer. Treatment has improved tremendously, saving literally tens and hundreds of thousands of women's lives, particularly. But we need to do more.
I hear you. Well, that's great.
So,
Anything else tickling your fancy here, boss?
well, you know, a lot's tickling my fancy, and one of the major things that I've been thinking about and trying to understand is why our agriculture sector in this county, which is so critical to this county, can't be utilized to deal with the food deserts that we have. We have food deserts that have been documented in the county, where people literally don't get 3 square meals. Okay, we have studies done that there are literally 10, 15, 20,000 people in our own county who are food insecure. We have very, very rich land, much of which is not being cultivated. And we have to marry the need, the demand, with the productive capacity that's right here. So to do that, we need facilities. We need dairy processing, we need beef processing. When I talk to farmers, they tell me we have no processing within 3-4 hours of here, which makes it infeasible for us to get our product into a form that's marketable and then market it with any degree of economic sanity. So we need to cure that. We have land at Stewart Airfield, which is county owned, which people have suggested to me, and I've done some study, could be devoted to these kinds of processing facilities, which would make more feasible the actual production and then the distribution of something.
Well, what about, I mean, you're talking about at Stewart?
Yeah.
What about, I mean, has anybody done the ground analysis, soil analysis, because, I mean, that's been a military.
But you're talking about processing facilities. You're talking about building industrial plants.
Oh,
there.
okay.
You're not talking about using it for
not
farming.
Utilization.
No, not as farming. You're talking about a need for processing facilities.
Okay, yeah.
And we don't have
use,
any.
Perfect use for
exactly. And the idea is it's not near residences. It's rather isolated in terms of any residential area.
Right.
So utilize this, and from the farm point of view, it provides for easy distribution.
Wow.
If you do the processing there. So, I mean, this is something that's really on my mind, because when I hear about these food deserts, and I hear about them, and when I think about how productive our farmers could be, and the fact that we have to help marry them to markets, and that has just not been done. We don't even have a commissioner of agriculture or a department of agriculture or anything.
I mean, we're talking about, domestic product, local products.
Exactly.
So, wow.
And employment opportunities.
You're not having to deal with tariffs or any of that other nonsense that some of the big farmers, in the Midwest have to deal with.
Exactly right.
Anything like that. So.
And as these tariffs develop, they increase the cost that consumers have to pay. And if we produce it close to home, you deal both with that and transportation costs that are obviously far reduced. So there's a lot of logic in this.
Yeah.
So the other thing this week that was really meaningful was meeting with about 25 major human resource providers, human service providers in the county, and getting their sense of what matters in the county and the need for more treatment facilities, more beds for addiction and the like. And what I said to them is we need to convene all of them in a single room, literally, for a day or two if it takes that, and really have a conversation about where the gaps are. Because when people talk about criminality, one of the things that it continually mentions is the addiction issues which are driving people into this behavior, the abuse issues, the trauma issues, and we need to stop missing people, which is what we're doing.
Right.
Because it's too late. We miss them. They commit a serious act. Yeah, they're in prison, but somebody's dead or badly hurt. So we need to have more effectual interventions, and I'm looking to that community for real help in figuring out how that can be done.
Great.
All right. Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you.
Appreciate you coming by.
Always a pleasure.
All right.